All right, here's a forehand quick and dirty. When it comes to how you actuate your wrist, there is never a point in any forehand where this is a motion you want to make. That's the one thing to remember. So when people talk about serving the pizza, what they're talking about is, now the thing is if your grip is a certain way, you have to serve the pizza. Even if you grip like I grip, you still in some sense don't ever want to roll your palm over. So when we're gripping the disc, this is a grip I use. Here, stack fingers. I'm putting my fingers into the rim of the disc. I want to put the power into the rim. If you roll your fingers up into the plate, you're side loading your hand. If that's what works, use it, but remember, you're not going to get quite the amount of torque. So if I throw like this, like Scott Stokely, who says, don't serve the pizza, where's my hand? Okay, me and Scott throw forehands fairly similarly. He throws them further than me because I'm tired of blowing my elbow out, because forehands are incredibly hard on your elbow. So this is a very powerful grip. A lot of players, what they do is they take their fingers and they put them in the rim like this. Is there anything wrong with this? No, there's nothing wrong with this. But if I use my wrist to make the throw, that doesn't line up very well. If I roll my wrist over and try to use it, it doesn't work very well. Now, when we get down here to throw, I'm going to take the disc out of my hand. Would you like a piece of pizza? Oh, pizza, by the way. I'm more of a Stromboli guy, but that's completely different. There's a lot of different grips. If your fingers are pointed more up into the flight plate of the disc, if you're pointed more into the flight plate of the disc, you have to make sure to keep your palm up during the throw. If you're going to put your fingers into the rim, this gives you this. And when I teach forehands, I generally teach it like this for a reason, because you can really work somebody into a forehand this way. Well, this way you have to use a lot more arm motion, because this is a very arm motion centric throw. Well, this I can, and that's an easy 100 feet with a putter, a lot of different discs. And you could teach somebody to approach with the wrist and eventually get more into the throw. Well, this particular grip I actually use. But when do I use this grip? I actually use what would be more of a fan grip in the forehand. So if I'm going to throw a controlled shot, move back here so you can see. I'm going to throw like this. There's a couple weird control shots you can throw. This is where I want to really limit my power. I want to limit my wrist action to make sure that I can really get the disc out. But we're never doing this. We're keeping our hand. And this limits your wrist mobility here, because we have less wrist mobility here versus here where I have excessive amounts of wrist mobility. So you have to determine when you're making that shot with a forehand if you want low wrist mobility for control or higher wrist mobility for power. That's the cool things about a forehand, is we're able to actually make those extreme differentiations. That was a word salad. Extreme differences with how we want to make the disc work and move. There's nothing wrong with throwing with your fingers up into the flight plate. The reason I don't like it is, where's this stress going to go? This is a lot of stress on your hand in a not very powerful position. Okay? When we have our fingers into the actual rim of the flight plate, this is a very powerful position. There's no way I'm pushing past this. I can push through my hand. Here, I don't have the power to actually impart into the disc. So you have to make that choice when you're choosing your grip with your forehand. And there's a lot of people out there, when I give them forehand lessons, they're struggling with their forehand. And all I'm doing is, okay, based on what you're throwing, change your grip to this. Or somebody might be in this grip and I'm like, hey, based on how you're throwing, change your grip to this. And all of a sudden they're throwing great forehands. So if you're sucking at forehands, change your grip. But always make sure, no matter what your grip is, if you're in the flight plate, you have to keep the palm up for sure, because we need to make sure that disc comes out and stays. And we're not hucking forehands, we're flying forehands. This is the most important thing. We're not, this is not a monster motion. We're flying. We're gonna take this like a paper airplane and we're gonna fly it, okay? Even when we're in a more powerful grip, we're going to fly it. But we never, ever, ever want to flip our wrist over, because that just rolls the disc. That's junk. So there you go. Quick on forehand grip.